We picked up this Asus a CM5570 pre-built PC off of Craigslist, which came with a Q9400 upgraded already Core 2 quad processor, just to see if we could break my brother Dan away from his console addiction and to get him into PC gaming. It came with a 320GB hard drive and 4 gigs of RAM, of DDR2 RAM, which I upgraded to 8GB of DDR2 and added other hard drives as he needed for his games and things like that. I gave him this Phantom 410 by NZXT case to upgrade the aesthetics of the PC and to allow him to upgrade the internals later on if he so chooses. I also had him install the components to allow him to get comfortable with PC building. I added my old Hyper 212 Evo to the build so that we could do a little bit of overclocking to push the Q9400 past its 2.66 GHz boundaries a bit. This PC did not come with a GPU, so I gave him my old GTX 750 Ti for the Win Edition. Now, a disclaimer, I in no way am suggesting to buy a 750 Ti at this point, as there are much better, cheaper options out there today. But for us, this GPU did not cost anything additional, so this is what we went with. On to the performance. I overclocked the Q9400 to 2.88 GHz. Not much, but even this required to flash a non-retail BIOS for a similar board made by Asus, just to even allow overclocking at all. We may be able to push it a little further with more tweaking down the road, but for now, this is fine, and here is some gameplay to show the performance. Now, we chose 3 games to show footage for, as they are 3 of his favorite titles to play. Starting with Skyrim on low to medium settings, we maintain a close 60 frames per second or more at 1080p. This was pre-special edition Skyrim when we filmed this, and even in the wooded, texture-filled area, the Q9400 handles it quite well at 50 to 65% CPU usage. Borderlands 2 was very important to him, as the series is his favorite gaming series to date. This game is taxing even on my 4790K at times in areas, probably optimization related. So it is quite impressive to see the Q9400 stay at around 60 to 70% CPU usage. Frames per second range from 40 to 80 frames per second, so quite a range there. At medium settings at 1080p, so extremely playable and enjoyable for him. And lastly, I wanted to show Overwatch gameplay, as it was one of the games that we noticed and observed using up to 100% of the CPU usage, but still maintaining very respectable frame rates at 50 to 70 frames per second on medium to high settings. So even with the CPU maxed out as much as it can at this 2.88 GHz clock, we're still able to play Overwatch quite well. He's been gaming on this PC for a while with no issues, so extremely playable. Overall, I wouldn't suggest going out and seeking out this build and saying I'm going to buy and build a computer with these components. However, if you come across this build and say, hey, I have no other options at this point, I want to start it somewhere, can it game? Yeah, the Q9400 can game. Just throw a comparable GPU with it. At this point, it would probably be like a 1050, and yeah, you can game all day long.